Hello, everyone. Welcome to another. vi-
Just that, it's easier to edit it than.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the WDW with Me podcast. As always, I'm Darren, and I've got Ashley alongside me. So let's get into today's topic. Today, we are going to talk about. So you've decided you're going to go to Orlando / Florida / Walt Disney World, however you want to do it. So yeah, we're going to talk about this today. We're going to give you our experiences of what we've done previously, and little things that you might want to look out for, different times of the year, different events that are on during the year, and just take it from there. And we'll give you kind of things that you maybe not have thought about when you're looking to plan that, especially your first trip.
Yeah, I think first of all, it needs to be, where do you begin?
Yeah. From starting this page on Instagram, I realised the other day they were started 3 years ago,
Well,
which is crazy. Uh, and one of the most common things we do get is how swamped people feel about deciding they're going to go to Florida, Disney World in general, how much planning there might be into it, where to start, where to look, when to go, all these kind of things.
also, everybody does a villa holiday, so I need to do a villa holiday, or everyone stays in Disney, so I need to stay in Disney. No, you don't. You do whatever works best for you. For us, we've done villa, we've done international drive, and we've done staying on property, and there is only one option for us from now on going forward. But that's because that suits us. Doesn't suit everybody, but it definitely suits us. So the positives of a villa would be you have your own space, your own pool. When the kids go to bed at night, you can sit up and do whatever you want, watch telly, whatever. Have drinks around the pool. International drive, you've got the opportunity to walk. Because I think a lot of people don't realise that when you're in Florida or anywhere in America, things aren't really walking distance.
No, no. Just to touch back on the villa thing you were talking about there, it's probably the most common type of Disney holiday I've done growing up. I started going to Disney World 20 odd plus years ago. I enjoy my villa holidays.
You enjoy the villa. I don't enjoy the villa because you still have to do your dishes. You still have to empty dishwashers. You still have to empty bins. You still have to remember when to put your bins out. To me, a villa holiday or staying in a villa in Orlando isn't a holiday. It's just moving your house from where you are to America, basically.
But as you say, you've got your own
Uh
space,
huh.
you've got your own, especially for those larger groups that are going,
Yeah.
your 8+ groups, I would suggest maybe a villa would be the better one. It is good to chill out at night
Yeah.
beside the pool and stuff like that, but for me, the biggest downfall of having a villa is, you're always going to be 10, 15, 20 minutes from Disney World at least,
Well, that's
and
what it's
some
advertised as, isn't it?
and sometimes it can take longer due to traffic. I mean, I-4, the main interstate state road that goes through Florida, can be a nightmare at sometimes. So you do have to take that into consideration with your villa holiday. And as Ashley was just touching on there as well, International Drive, that used to be, if you went to Florida,
The place to go.
you were staying in International Drive. Now, International Drive, from the last time I was there, I used to stay in a place called Enclave Suites in Orlando on International Drive. And when we first started going, it was brilliant. It was a really nice hotel, but it is a little bit run down nowadays. They've maybe revamped it. As I say, it's been a long time since I've been there, but the last time I stayed in it, it certainly lost a bit of its charm. And that goes for International Drive in general, in my opinion. It has lost its charm.
Yeah, I think there's pockets of places that's opening up now. You've got Point Orlando and you've got Icon Park. These are the two up and coming areas, I would say, on International Drive
Well,
now.
Point Orlando's always been there. It's called the Point now, I think.
Yeah, but what they're
Uh,
doing is they're upgrading it.
yeah,
They're
it's like higher end dining and stuff like
yeah.
that that's in it now.
But I feel like the rest of International Drive, where for example the Ponderosa used to be, which used to be the main buffet place
Oh,
everybody would go
I
for
used to love a
breakfast.
Ponderosa breakfast.
But even that's also, what's the word? It's just run down.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of International Drive at all anymore. I think if we were to go back to International Drive, it would be a one day experience going up and down the bars just as a nostalgic.
Yeah, because you've got the iTrolley. A lot of people don't realise that International Drive's actually got its own transport option. It's called the iTrolley that you can hop on, jump off,
Yeah.
right along International Drive. That will actually take you right along to SeaWorld and right up towards Universal. It won't take you into Universal. You still maybe have a bit of a walk, but it won't take you into Universal. Uh, That kind of brings us on to the next thing, with your hotels and international drive. A lot of them do offer shuttle services to the parks, but you're maybe talking one bus a morning.
Which books up fast.
Books up fast, and you're restricted to the times that bus is leaving. It probably won't leave anywhere before 9 o'clock, which, if you are hoping to rope drop that ride that you've got your eye on, or be in the park as early as you can for a breakfast reservation, these shuttles kind of maybe aren't going to be for you.
And I also think they pick up around about 5-6 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So if you want to see the nighttime shows, you've got absolutely no chance.
Yeah.
So as much as they offer the shuttles to the parks, just do your own research and see if these shuttle times work for you. I mean, they might work for some.
Yep.
Some people might not want to go and do the rope drop to park close. But if you are making those reservations, you want to try and, like, if for a Magic Kingdom reservation in Crystal Palace, you want to be in for an 8 o'clock reservation because the park is empty. You're going to get empty castle pictures, which never happens.
No, unless you're there very last thing at night as well, which is always a great photo as well.
Yeah, which doesn't cover the shuttle times.
So obviously, with your villa and your international drive stay, you are potentially looking at having to hire a car as well, which, when I went 20 plus years ago and was hiring a car, a 2 week car hire at that time was about £500 for the 2 weeks. I priced it for a villa stay that we had just the year we get married.
Yeah, 2018.
And it was over £1,000 for those 2 weeks. So that's astronomically shot up. I've not looked recently, so they may have come back to normal, they may not have, but that's a factor that you're going to have to put into your plans if you are doing this international drive or a villa stay. And then also you've got the fact that you're going to have to drive over there, which fills a lot of people with dread.
Yeah, this still baffles me that you can turn right on a red light.
Yeah.
Like these things, yes, if you do your research, yes, if you're confident, having a car makes all the difference. But realistically, for us, it's too much stress.
Well, I've drove in Orlando a few times. The year I worked there as well, for the last couple of weeks of my stay, we hired a car and I was driving back and forward from my villa. So I've drove in Florida. It's not that bad. It's really not that bad. The roads are wide, they're straight. The turn-offs are well signposted before you get to them. So it is not easy to drive. You're on the opposite side of the road. As Ashley's just mentioned there, there's strange anomalies, like you can turn right in a red light, onto the oncoming traffic, etc. So you need to look at all these things, and it will take a very confident driver to drive in Florida, especially for the first time.
But also driving, you have a $35 per day parking charge at all parks.
Yeah, at least $35.
So for us, we'll get on to staying on site in a minute, but people say, oh no, on site's too expensive, but you need to take in, say, 12 out your 14 days of $35. So you add all that up, you add your car charge, you add your fuel. It's just the expense that you are forking out for hiring that car. It's incredible. It's an insane amount of money.
But again, if you're there with a party of 8+ and there's quite a few people chipping in for the car hire, stuff like that, the park tickets, a day round and stuff like that, you can get round it that way.
Yeah.
So we're not completely saying, oh no, this is a bad idea, this is a bad idea. This is the purpose of what we do, and what we say is to give everybody the kind of insight and the idea, and then ultimately we will give you what works for us and what we do.
Our advice.
Because that's what we do. We go, we know what we want to do, and this is how we do it. So yeah, your international drive stay, your villa stay. I have loved every villa stay I have ever had in Florida. I have to say that. I have absolutely loved it.
And I'm going to say I've not.
I loved the pool. I've loved just having my own space. The only downside for me is that travelling back and forward to the parks, your rush hour, I-4 traffic, etc.
Yeah, so if your villa states it's 20 minutes from Disney, double that, if not triple that.
Yeah,
at least.
Or you leave early enough in the morning and miss it.
You're still not 20 minutes from Disney. No. I don't care what they say. You're still not.
No.
But also, if you're off-site, you have, for the Magic Kingdom, you have to park at transportation and ticket centre. which then adds an extra 30 minutes onto
because
your journey.
you have to park there. You have to get the little tram up to the ferry port or the monorail port,
The
and
food
then
security
yeah,
there.
you're then queuing up for your monorail. You're queuing up for your boat. The Everyone's like, "What's the fastest? What's the fastest?" Believe it or not, they actually both take about the same amount of time.
Yeah, they both take the same amount of time. I've seen actually us once or twice jumping on the resort monorail
Yeah.
rather than the park monorail
Yeah.
because yes, it goes around all three resorts, but it doesn't have as long a queue because people think it doesn't stop at the Magic Kingdom when it does.
So
So
there's another little tip that
yeah,
we've found it ourselves. Like, you don't automatically have to queue for the
no,
park monorail. You can get the resort monorail. It'll just take you around a longer loop, but when you take into the time of queuing,
yeah.
you could be winning out of
The
it.
same goes for park close. Jump on the resort line.
Yeah.
The resort line goes so much quicker than the park line.
Yeah.
But also, if you really wanted to, you can walk the walking path from the Grand Floridian right
Yeah.
round to the park.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it depends what works for you. If you want to go and not just do the parks, but go to the outlets, go to
Kennedy Space Centre.
like further afield places, like these places that would cost you a fortune if you were to hire
Old Town in Kissimmee is always a good visit.
celebration.
Yep.
Anywhere like that, then definitely consider hire a car. But for us, when we don't, or we do maybe one or two outlet trips or Walmart trips, we just get an Uber or a Lyft
Yeah.
because it just saves us so much money.
Well, that's what I was going to come on to. Lyft and Uber from 20 years ago to now is outrageously popular now.
Yes.
You can get an Uber generally at the click of a finger.
Yeah, the only thing I would say, if you've got children under 5, a Lyft or an Uber is probably not the way to go because the car seat restrictions in the US are different to the UK. So most UK car seats, in fact, if not all UK car seats, you're not insured to use them over in the States. So a child under 5 must be in a car seat, whether that be a high back booster or an infant car seat. Yes, some Ubers carry, but they only carry one. They don't carry infant carriers at all. So if that's another thing to take into consideration, the age of your kids.
Yep.
You don't want to be carrying a car seat about with you all day because the parks cannot store them for you.
No, the lockers aren't big enough.
So no, I think take that into consideration as well. But for us, that's another reason why we first started staying on site was the kids' ages.
Yeah.
And the issue with the car seats.
What I will say on the back of that is, if you are looking at the minivans that
Yes.
Lyft that run about Disney, they have every car seat imaginable that
Yes.
you can think of. So for that option, it is a little bit pricier than a normal Lyft because
And
it
that
is
only on Disney
on
World
only on
property.
Disney property. But we done it once and it was great. The
Yeah.
cast member was brilliant. It's driven by Disney cast members.
Put the cartoons on in the car for the kids. That
Yep.
was actually them on the way to the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique.
Yeah, the first ever time they done their Bibbidi Bobbidi
Yeah,
Boutique.
because we booked it that early that we were worried that we weren't going
Yeah.
to get into the park in time even with the resort transfer.
Yep.
Which they always would get you there, but we were just a wee bit apprehensive.
Yeah.
And with a minivan over a normal lift, the minivans can drop you off where the buses drop you off at Magic
Yep.
Kingdom, whereas Lyft would have to drop you off at the transportation and ticket
Yep.
centre, and then you're then faced with a ferry boat or the monorail.
So just remembering you would need to put that into your timings of getting to your reservation at, Crystal Palace or your Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique reservation.
Yeah. And also with regards to on-site versus off-site, so anyone can get into the parks half an hour before early entry. Anybody can be in, and then there's a separate checkpoint within the park for resort guests to go through. So if you see Magic Kingdom opens at 9 o'clock, don't turn up for 9 o'clock.
You can be there for 8.
Be there for 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And you will still get in. You'll only get to go on Main Street. You won't get to go any further. You will still be through those gates. You will still be there and you will still be ready for your reservation. If you have a reservation before that, during early entry, you can also still enter and go through the reservation line.
Just explain it to any cast member that's there. If you've got a reservation, they will let you in. They're not going to stop you getting into your reservation. So just make sure. Don't stand and wait in a line thinking, "Oh my God, I've got 5 minutes." Just go and speak to the nearest cast member and they'll help you through it.
And I think when our friends were with us in November, we'd said to them that we were going to go for early entry, so we were going to be there for, I can't remember, say it was 8:30. It might not have been. and they thought that they were only allowed through the gates at 8:30. We got through the gates at 7:45.
Yep.
And we were allowed to walk to the next checkpoint. So that gives you a jump start as well ahead of other
And then
people
we
who
literally
don't know
get
that.
through that checkpoint at 8 o'clock, and we were on and off Rise of Resistance by 8:10 in the morning.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, but that's obviously the on-site perk.
Yeah.
But the off-site, you can still get through those gates and beat the majority of the crowd
yeah,
to
And-
get to where you want to go.
you'll be ready for, if you are deciding, that would be your classic rope dropping option of what you want to go to first, what you
Yeah.
would do first, get that big ride out the way first. So yeah, we've touched on offsite, looking at our social media, our YouTube videos. We'll see that the option for us and the option that we will continue to do for the foreseeable is an on-site stay.
Yes. The perks far outweigh the negatives for us.
Yep.
Our last trip, although we had Pop Century booked, I did price a villa. I priced separate park tickets. I priced a car hire and added in parking, and we were only saving $200 essentially to stay on site by the time, because we do go to the parks every day. We do. As much as we say we have rest days, our rest days consist of potentially going to the park for an hour or back. So for the convenience, for us, the $200 was well spent. And that is literally all it would have cost. Had I not have factored in the car hire, had I not have factored in the parking costs, yes, it would have been significantly cheaper, but you're going to be paying that anyway.
Yep. And you've said the word there, the convenience for us. You know, it's and I mean, I hate to use the phrase the Disney bubble. Like, I loathe that phrase entirely. But
It's magical.
you know, you are within that bubble. You know, you're encapsulated completely in Disney, and for us, that's just what we want when we go. You know, we want to just wake up Disney, go to sleep Disney, and just Disney all day long. That's what we want. It's not going to be for everybody, but that's what we want.
No, but for our perks, staying on site consists of your 60-day booking window, which everyone has, but we can also book the first 10 days of our stay.
So note that when you're deciding on site, off site, 60 days, both options get to book restaurants. But if you're staying on property, the first 10 days of your entire stay open up for Disney if you're staying on site. So that's a massive perk in itself for those hard to get reservations like
Bibbidi Bobbidi and
Topolino's, you know.
Or even the Wild Africa Trek or the cabanas at the water parks or the firework cruises. They seem to be going really
they seem to be really popular.
So that for us is a huge perk because, like I say, we do try to do different things every time we go. But some of these are ridiculously hard to get, and I think looking at our socials over the last 2 weeks, I would say it's been spring break booking time. So some of our lovely followers have given me extra grey hair trying to get Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique for off-site guests, but we have managed it. There is always an option to get nearer the time. Bookings will open up because I think you'll find a lot of people book maybe 2 or 3 slots, and then as the time draws closer, they then cancel them. So keep checking. If you are off-site and you've not got that reservation that you really want, just keep checking.
And for on-site, you know, you don't need to worry about your transport. As Ashley's already touched on, if we're going to the outlets for a day's shopping, we will get a lift or an Uber. We will do that. But on site, all your transport options are there. And the Disney transport systems are brilliant.
They're fantastic.
I mean, the buses, the monorail, the Skyliner, you know, we genuinely book a resort for the Skyliner.
Yeah, we do. We always stay at Skyliner Resort.
So predominantly we stay at Pop Century when we go.
But also the reason we book a Skyliner Resort is because our 2 favourite parks are Skyliner parks.
Yeah, Epcot and all those studios. So makes sense for us. But again, that takes you that would take into consideration where and when you're booking. You know, if you're going to be spending all your time at Animal Kingdom, which is the furthest away park,
you would stay at
All Stars or the Animal Kingdom Lodge are your 2 that's closest to that. So you've got that option as well. But for us, it was the Skyliner that roped us in.
We actually love the Skyliner, to be fair.
So
it's just such a good mode of transport. It's just so much faster than, yes, we keep saying Disney buses are fantastic. They are. But your queues in the morning for the buses are also quite long. So if you don't go on the first bus, you're then waiting for a second bus, which 9 times out of 10 isn't that far away.
No. And also on the app, it will give you the bus timetable, and also at the bus stances within the resort. They do constantly update, telling you when the next bus to what parts coming, etc. And they never are, especially first thing in the morning and last thing at night from the actual park. There is more buses on, there is more drivers. They do accommodate
They
it.
line them up.
They know what they're doing.
Also, compared to the offsite hotels that offer shuttles, these buses run continuously throughout the day. You can jump on a bus at any point to go back to your hotel. We still don't, because it still does take a good bit of time to get from A to B, as we've mentioned in our last podcast. We just like to stay. We find quiet places to sit and relax in the parks over going back to the resort. The kids will always go in the pool at night when we get back. Always. But for us, going back to the pool during the day, or for the kids to have a rest, is just not worth it. And that's another reason why we take a stroller with us. To give them that rest time. No, 9 times out of 10 they're not in it. And it's great to carry all the things. So I don't know what I'm going to do when we go back next time and we don't need one. But
and our kids are 8 and 10 just now.
And they are actually so grateful for
and
it.
And they still needed the stroller the last visit.
And I think the heat, you underestimate the heat.
Yeah.
You underestimate the park sizes. I found something recently, and it was the sizes of the parks.
Yeah. I mean, in a normal Magic Kingdom day, you will be doing, if you cover that entire park, you will probably smash 25,000 steps. You know, that's a fair distance of walking. And as Ashley's already touched on, you've got the heat, you've got the humidity. You know,
it's a fair distance for us, never mind the kids.
You know, you've got all those factors to take into it, which needs to be thought about when you do plan this holiday and you are planning it, especially for the first time, because it will catch you off guard. If you can only go June, July, just be prepared for the heat. The heat is incredible.
But with regards to the stroller, even for the shade alone, the kids have needed that. Sometimes when you turn up maybe late for a parade, you only have a sunny spot to stand in because the shaded spots go fast.
Yeah.
So for us, for them to sit in that and put the hood over is massive. Like that just saves them from having that crazy meltdown that everybody really has at one point or another.
Adults included.
Yeah.
So we kind of touched on the perks there for us of staying on site. The biggest one we've not spoke about is, for us, it's the Disney dining plan. And as I said in the last podcast, there is nothing more decisive between the Disney community on the value of the Disney dining plan. Now, as we touched on the last one, for us, it works for us. We know how to work it. We know how to get the most out of it. So for us, it's an option that we will continue to do.
Yeah.
We do have a video on YouTube where I discuss it, and we discuss about maximising the uses of it. On our Instagram page, we put up posts often a good credit uses, like for your meal credit or your snack credit. So have a wee look at them. The dining plan is going to be a podcast on its own. We'll do something on that, but the dining plan is only available to those staying on site in Disney. So just take that into account as well. And it's, as I always say, it's a way that you prepay Disney for your food within the parks. It's as simple as that. So that's a benefit as well for staying on site.
A lot of people would say it's not worth it, but I think when people are saying it isn't worth it, are people who haven't actually A, researched it, or B, haven't maximised the use, and they've ended up spending more.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
They've ended up spending more on the dining plan because they've maybe got a Diet Coke with their meal, or because all they've wanted to eat was kids' meals, and the adult portions are too big. So for us, it works. But this year was actually it was a different year for us for the dining plan because Ayla turned 10, so she was classed as an adult, but still can't obviously drink alcohol. So for us, we were paying adult prices for someone who was only going to eat kids'
size portions
and could only drink soft drinks. But even then, we made that work. We did get alcohol quite often with per credit, and we put it in the fridge for later, or we maybe had an extra alcoholic beverage between us both during the day
in the park.
Uh-huh.
And obviously just paid out of pocket for the odd juice there for her.
We
Just
did
obviously.
Instacart actually a lot of juice, and we did take some soft drinks into the parks with us, and we also take those Robinson's squishy diluting juice things with us, which helps as well. But for us, it works. If you're unsure of it, please feel free to ask us, because we'll speak to you all day about it, because we are big advocates for the dining plan. But going back to park sizes, so when we were saying about needing a stroller, this says Animal Kingdom is 500 acres. And yes, a lot of that is a safari. It's still a big park to get from A to B. Epcot is 300 acres. So that's a huge space as well for those tiny little legs to have to walk. Hollywood Studios is 154 acres and Magic Kingdom is 142 acres. And as much as Magic Kingdom's only 142 acres, it feels like the biggest park, doesn't it? It feels huge.
Mammoth. So it does.
So yeah, take those sizes into consideration, because if you've got the stroller and you don't use it, then that's fantastic. But if you don't have a stroller and you need one, that's when your problems may start.
Yeah. It's very expensive to rent a stroller from Disney.
We're actually partnered with Stroller Rentals in Orlando, and we have a referral code. It's not a discount code, it's just a referral code. And it's WDW with me, all in capitals, all one word. They are a small local company.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. They'll drop it off for you, come and collect it. They are in constant contact with you. Their communication with you from the minute you book until the minute you first get your hands in that stroller is unreal.
You get a parent console with it, which comes in so handy. You get your rain cover with it. This is not a paid sponsorship. This is not a paid partnership. No. This is just... We actually rented one from them initially, and then we publicised it so much that they got in touch with us. And I think they're so appreciative because it's such a small company.
And we would rather help the smaller companies than,
and say there's nothing against bigger companies like Kingdom Strollers and things, but you see them everywhere.
Yeah.
Everyone uses Kingdom Strollers, and as much as, yes, your name's on the back of it, every stroller looks the same.
Oh, our name, the stroller along, put your name on it as well.
Yeah, but it's also it's a different label on the site. So not like every company puts their own stickers on it. But you see 45,000 Kingdom Strollers stickers.
And as always with Disney, where you park your stroller and where you come out the ride to find your stroller is not the same place.
No. Your stroller hasn't been stolen.
No. They have moved it. The cast members have moved it, making space for people who are coming in. So don't panic. That's something that a lot of people don't realise as well.
Yeah.
Right, so we've touched on the on-site stay, right, which we could talk about for hours and hours, right? But along with deciding you're going to Walt Disney World and you're going to Orlando, Florida in general, one of the biggest things you have to take into account is your time of year. Mm-hmm. That can be vital on what you want to do.
We've been most times.
Yeah.
And I think our favourite time to go is kind of September, October time, isn't it?
Now, that used to be the quieter time, and you won't see it, but I'm inverted commas that comment.
There is no quiet time.
There's no anymore. Since COVID and the closure of the parks, a lot of people are still, believe it or not, trying to catch up in their vacations that they missed.
Yeah.
So I would say there's generally no quiet time at the parks anymore.
No, well, we were kind of under the impression that the start of November was going to be quiet.
It was crazy.
It was. I don't believe we'll be back.
No,
in November.
I won't touch November again. We've been in December and it wasn't near that busy.
No. We've also been at Halloween. It's not been that busy.
Yeah. December was quieter than November, for reasons that I can't really understand. I know Thanksgiving crowds come down, but that was towards the end of November. But for some reason, there was a couple of days in that last trip where we went into the parks and we
about turned and left the parks.
Yep, because it was crazy. So prepare yourself for crowds depending on when you can go. I know a lot of people, for example, teachers, you are restricted to those, summer holidays. So they are going to be busier times as well.
Yeah.
The only thing, and I've mentioned it earlier, June, July is incredibly warm and humid. So you need to take that into account.
Yes.
That will affect your going around about the parks, your general day-to-day life in Florida. the heat and the humidity will affect you, especially all at once. You need to stay hydrated.
Yeah.
Big time.
I've also had some people say to us though, like, why do you want to go September and October? Because that's hurricane season. Well, we've both been going for 20 odd years around that time of year, and we have had one hurricane.
One hurricane, and that was Hurricane Milton, which was a couple of years ago. Yeah. That's the first time I've ever, even the year I worked there was not a hurricane.
For us, it's just the best time
Yeah.
to go. There's so much going on in the parks.
The temperature's lovely. You are going to get your afternoon rain showers still.
Yeah, so that's another thing I see often. Oh, look, this is the first week of my trip and it's rain. Yeah, for 20 minutes.
Yeah, 20
maximum.
minutes. Around about 3 o'clock, you can generally set your watch by it. Between 3 and 4 in the afternoon, as the humidity builds up, your thunderstorms roll in, 20 minutes of rain, literally 5 minutes later, it's bone dry.
Yes.
So when you are looking at that weather report and you can see 5 days of rain, that's just because you are going to get a thunder shower. It's Florida. It's, it is going to rain.
Yeah.
No matter when you're there, it is going to rain.
You will get rain. You will. I think we were only there in March time once.
And it never rained
for 2
once.
weeks and it didn't rain once. That's the only time we've ever been in Orlando and it has not rained.
The other thing about time of year and what's important for you is, obviously, those that have followed us know we love Halloween as a family. So September, October is when your Mickey's Not So Scary's going on, and the parks are in full Halloween decor, and that for us is the best time of year for us.
Yeah, so we've obviously done the Christmas party and the Halloween party, and for us the Halloween party is far better than the Christmas party. Far better. Don't know if that's personal experience. Don't know if it's based on our last trip, which we touched on in the Devonshire Does podcast, so go and have a listen to that if you want to hear more about that. But for us, the Halloween party is going to be picked over Christmas.
It's just the decor of the park. The Halloween decor for me is just outstanding.
But I think also our trips focus very highly around Epcot festivals as well.
Yeah. There's 4 Epcot festivals that happen throughout the year. So January to February, in general, you've got your Festival of the Arts. From March until
June, I think it is.
June, it's quite a long one, this one. You've got Flower and Garden. And then, July into September.
Well, it was November this year.
November, right? It's far into November, actually, because it was the last weekend of our trip was the last weekend of.
And it was crazy.
So that's that was insane. The Food and Wine Festival, which is a personal favourite of ours. Yeah.
We love the Food and Wine Festival. Our kids actually love the Food and Wine Festival as well.
Yep.
There's so much for them to do at all festivals. You've also got a Christmas festival, which is Festival of the Holidays, which is a good one to see. It's a good one to do.
It's really interesting. The kids were really interested in how, especially in Epcot, the World Showcase, and how different countries celebrate Santa or anything differently. In the UK, you've got Santa in his traditional green before a certain brand got their hands on him.
Yeah, before Coca-Cola turned them red.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't naming brands there, but there we go.
Santa is all around the World Showcase in different forms, and it's so lovely to see. And for the kids, it's such a learning experience for them. I keep hearing a lot of people saying, "No, there's nothing for them to do in Epcot." To be honest, Epcot's the park with the most for kids to do.
Our kids love Epcot. Absolutely love Epcot.
It's the most, but it's things you've got to look for. And I think we'll do specific park podcasts.
Yeah.
And Epcot will be quite a long one, I think, because of the amount of things for them to do in Epcot. It's things that you've kind of got to know about. It's not
all rides and shows. There is some cultural things. For example, the program I done was called the Cultural Representative Program. People wanted to come and learn as a member of the UK.
It's for us, we'll always pick to go around a time where Epcot has a festival on. There's not often where Epcot doesn't have a festival on, but for us, we just love the festivals. There's so much additional. You're getting so much more for your park ticket money when there's a festival on.
Yeah, and there's different foods to try, different drinks to try. The Festival of the Arts, there's artwork everywhere. There's artists that you can go and speak to.
Yeah, actually, the voice of Belle was there. Paige O'Hara, she was in Epcot and she was signing some of her artwork. Which when do you see voice actors? Never, really.
And then you've also got, which we've not touched on, you've got your concerts that happen in the American Pavilion throughout all the festivals.
I mean, our kids, we took them to see Bowling for Soup. Now, they'd heard of Bowling for Soup. They just didn't really know who they were. And this was in November. As soon as they seen Bowling for Soup, they now want to listen to Bowling for Soup. But there's just so many artists on. So Hanson play often.
We the Kings, they were out.
We the Kings were
standing.
Incredible. Plain White Tees are fantastic.
Yep. And this is all included in your ticket during these festivals.
Yeah, you don't.
And they do 3 shows a day. So you look again, if that's something that's interesting for you. For example, you want to go to the Food and Wine Festival, and you see there's a certain artist, I'd like to go and see them. That's how to work into your plans as well.
Yeah, and how you really kind of work. I mean, these lists of artists are released ahead of time, but
months
I would say
and months.
They're not released for us in the UK. They're not released in enough time for us to book a trip around seeing a certain person, because we normally book like a year in advance. The artist list isn't out till maybe, I don't know, Flowering Garden probably won't have ended by the time the Eat to the Beat for Food and Wine Festival list comes out. There's no way you'll be able to plan a trip around seeing certain people, but whoever is on, even if you've never heard of them, go and see them. It's such a good,
and it's all live. It's all live music.
It's a great experience. The kids love it.
Yep.
They just talk about that all the time.
So you've got your options there. What time of year you would like to go, and that's just some of the things. It's not everything you need to take into account, but it's just some of the things that we take into account about when we're going. As I touched on with the first podcast, I'm an emergency service worker, so I get told when my annual leave periods are, and I don't generally get to go out with them. So I get to not so much avoid the peak times of the year and stuff like that, but we, depending on when my leave is, that's when we kind of have to go as well. Yeah. So, and I never get the school holidays or anything like that. We're there at random times of the year. If you're March has been one of the best times of years I've ever been in Florida.
Yeah, that was a great trip though. That was the end of the 50th anniversary, which was another thing that if you can go for the end of something or the beginning of something, it's even more magical than.
So that was March 23, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably still one of my favourite trips that we've had.
But it's really strange how quickly Disney go from the 50th anniversary. Now, we were there, the last week of the 50th, and then the first week of it going back to being normal. Literally the last day, everything vanished.
Yeah.
Didn't it?
Yeah.
Even down to the mat.
The mats at the resort as you're coming in. It changed from the Walt Disney World Castle 50th anniversary to just the regular Pop Century one. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But it was literally
overnight.
Yeah, and or that morning I actually seen them roll up the ones and then put the other one out. I'm like, so that's that done then?
Yeah, it's crazy how quickly things change. So don't think, oh, well, we're going 3 or 4 days after it finishes, there might be things still up. No, there won't be. They are fast to get rid of things, aren't they?
Yeah.
Very fast. But another thing that we get asked about a lot are tickets. Why do I need 2 weeks worth of tickets when I only want to go to Disney for 5 days?
We touched on this in the last podcast as well.
Yeah, we didn't go into too much depth. We just kind of said about the prices and things. Yeah. Obviously, you're $200 a day per person to go into the parks if you buy at the gate for certain parks. But our 14-day ticket gets you so much more. It's say £600.
Yep.
For 14 days, which is actually, it can cover you over 18 days.
Yeah, it's actually over 18 days. From the first day you activate it, you've got 18 days to use that.
Yeah.
But it's 14 visits.
You're only allowed to go into the parks 14 separate occasions.
Yep.
But you can space that over 18 days should you wish.
Yep.
And your water park day doesn't count as a park day.
No. So that's a good option. That's good to keep in mind if you're going for 3 weeks.
For us, next time we're going for 3 weeks,
yeah.
and we will be buying a 14-day ticket.
Yep.
We won't be going into the parks the first day, and we won't be going into the parks on the last day.
No. Something we've never done.
No.
Like, I know people go and they want to get that last day in the park, but for us, we just get up, mosey about the resort and just chill out before coming home.
I think for us now, it's become tradition for our kids to go to the arcade.
Yeah.
in the last day of the holiday. But I think that began when they were asking every day to go to the arcade, and that could add up and add up and add up. So we were saying, right, the last morning, that's it, we'll do that. So now they don't even ask to do it; they know they're doing it in the last morning. So I think that's another reason why we stay at the resort on the last day, to get them to do that, to use up whatever credits we don't have or we haven't used. But yeah, definitely look at like Florida ticks or attraction tickets.
Yeah.
For those specific 14-day tickets.
Yeah.
If you're doing Universal, this is another tricky one, because we don't do Universal anymore.
Well, not yet. We will be going back to it.
We will go back, but people are saying, no, they'll do 1 week at Disney parks and a week at Universal parks. But for us,
you don't need a week at Universal.
You don't need a week at Universal. It doesn't take that long to do everything at Universal. It doesn't.
Maybe now with Epic Universe, because obviously we've not been since that opened.
No.
You maybe need a couple of more days than you would just to get everything done there, but
still doesn't take a week.
I'd say 4 days.
10 days Disney and 4 days
that would be my split.
Yeah.
So it would, but yeah. So your ticket options there. If you are booking through Disney Direct, your tickets and that will add into your package holiday, which is generally what we do. I always used to. If you'd asked me 10 years ago, I'd have said book everything separately. Book your flights separately, your accommodation separately, your park tickets separately.
But we book direct through the Walt Disney Travel Company now, not just because of, but mainly because of the blue light discount.
Yeah.
So it is only 3%, but put 3% on a holiday that's worth a few £1,000. That's still quite a lot of money.
And you're going to give Disney enough money when you're there. You might as well
save,
get a little bit of discount before you get there, because then the mouse does just empty your pockets, to be honest.
Yeah, money doesn't really have a value in Disney.
Yeah, you kind of, going with a budget doesn't work.
I mean, as much as you can, if you are very, very, very rigid, you can stick to a budget. But we just seem to
struggle.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're not sitting here saying that we spend a fortune when we're there.
No, we don't. But
right, so there is things like that. So yeah, you've got your tickets there. The other question that we get quite often is flights. Now, obviously, we can only comment from flying from the UK. So we can only comment on that. The way that we normally do it, and it's the way that I've done it growing up, was that I always flew from Glasgow International Airport to Gatwick, and then Gatwick to Orlando. Or it used to be Sanford. I used to fly into Sanford all the time.
We've done this journey a good few, in fact, most times.
But now, for us, the ones that we've done more often than not is our indirect flights from Glasgow to Gatwick, and then Gatwick to MCO. We have flew direct once with Virgin. Or just to say that those indirect flights, we normally fly with British Airways.
Yeah.
For price-wise, we can't normally get a better price than British Airways.
No, but we have looked recently, though. It is for this September, though, not next September when we're planning going. And the cheapest one seemed to be TUI from Glasgow.
Don't get me wrong, the Virgin flight that we had was outstanding.
I would say it's probably our best flight, but for us, it's not worth the extra £1,200.
We can't justify the amount of money that Virgin want on top of. No. British Airways. I'm sorry, Virgin, but it's just for us. There's more important things that we need to spend money on rather than our flights.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, as I say, British Airways is normally our go-to, and it's normally the cheapest that we can find. But as I was saying, or as Ashley was saying there, we have been looking at it because we're planning on going in September 2027, and we are looking for flight options. Our littlest one really struggles with our years, so trying to minimise going up and down, a direct flight, we need to try and look at that going forward. So TUI does seem to be an option.
And I think their flights are they stop in September. Or is it October? I can't remember, but they stop anyway in Glasgow. So we couldn't even have had that as an option in November when we went. But the timings that we were going next year to fit into that. So that's an option we're going to look at, and flying into Melbourne.
But they fly into Melbourne. That's what you do need to remember.
Yeah, but they also do transfers. And for us, saving 2-3 hours down in London and having an hour transfer is far more beneficial for us for all those years.
yeah, because The poor wee soul struggles.
Yeah, she every time, Mum, do we need to have another flight? Do we need to have
Yeah.
another flight?
I think it's almost starting to fill her with anxiety. Whenever we're mentioning about going on holiday, she's like, "Oh wait, is it just one flight or is it two
She
flights?"
actually asked the other day if when we go to Paris, is it just one flight or two flights? So she was relieved when it was only one. So it is something we're going to need to look at. But like I said, this year it does come in cheaper than British Airways. So
I think we do have to start looking at direct flights because I think Orla's starting to get.
But even just, it's not so much going because you're so excited going, it's coming home and you've done that overnight flight and you've got a 5-6 hour wait in London to then come back up to Glasgow. That's when it really hits home that, oh my goodness, we could have been home by now. Had we gone direct? We could have been in our beds.
So take all those things into account. For flights, if you're looking for a cheaper flight, the indirect options are going to be the best. If saving money in your flights is going to be one of the big things for yourselves, it is going to be that indirect option that's going to be a cheaper. And the most common way that we do from Scotland, again, just talking about from where we come from, is from Glasgow to Gatwick, Gatwick to MCO. And it's a flight we've done multiple times. Never had any problems with connections, never had any problems with luggage. You put your luggage in at Glasgow, you don't see it till you get to Orlando. So there is that. And for us, British Airways does always seem to come in the cheapest. Your direct flights are obviously going to cost you more, and just think about what's right for yourself. I mean, we can sit here and say we stay on site. We love to go September, October time. We love the Food and Wine Festival. We love Halloween. That's for us. That's us as a family. You need to do what's right for yourselves as a family. Take into account everything. When can you go? Education sector, I know, is a huge thing about you can only go during the summer holidays or the October holidays. So these times are going to be busier. They're going to be more expensive as well. Travel companies aren't stupid. They inflate prices because they know that people can only go at these times, which I think is diabolical.
But they can, and they're getting away with it.
They can, they have, and they will get away with it still. But I don't agree with it completely. So you need to take all this into account. Weather in Orlando, as we've touched on, it is going to rain. There's no getting away from that. No matter what time of year you go, it will rain. The heat and humidity. June, July for us, we try and avoid it.
It's a no-go for us.
We try and avoid it because it's really warm, it's really humid, and it's busy. The parks are busy at that time of year. Well, the parks are always busy just now, but
no, they're very busy.
They're very busy that time of year. So I hope through this we've given you some food for thought, if you will, about what you have to go in, and maybe some things that you've maybe not thought about, like those Epcot festivals, Halloween time of year, Christmas time of year.
The shuttle buses from your offsite as well. Might seem like a good idea at the time, but actually you're probably going to be factoring a lot of Uber or Lyft costs.
Which is going to increase your costs throughout your stay. So just, drop us a wee comment. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, or even if you are still unsure of what to do, we can always advise you.
Yeah. And that's, as we always stress, we advise people. We don't tell people you're doing it wrong. This is how you do it right.
Everybody does it differently.
We simply just advise you on what we have learned and what we do and works for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken us to do a villa holiday or many villa holidays, many international drive holidays to then realise that actually staying on Disney is for us. So you're not going to get it right in your first trip either.
No.
You're just, I think that's something to think about. You are not going to get it
completely
spot on.
Right on your first trip.
No. Every Disney holiday is a learning curve. And I think now we've maybe just got it perfect for us.
Yeah, but we're still learning. There's still things that we're learning about, and I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. No, I don't mean things like when you're there. What I mean is, like, we've found a combination that works for us. So the flights that we find work for us. The time of year we go works for us. The place we stay works for us. Hiring a car doesn't work for us. Staying off-site doesn't work for us.
Just now,
that might change in the future.
That's the thing. Like, we started this podcast, we saying 20 odd years ago it was international driver of villa. Staying on site never crossed many people's mind.
No.
But now it's went full circle, and we're sitting just now thinking, we won't do offsite again unless things change again. Maybe when the girls are older,
They might want their own space.
they might want their own space in a villa and
Again,
stuff.
I still think if they want their own space, we'll end up getting 2 connecting rooms
Well, no.
on site. But that's because that works for us.
Yeah. And that's the whole point of this podcast, is that we're trying to help everyone find out what's going to work for them.
But also, I think we've also started this whole journey, like Instagram, Facebook, podcasting, to be completely and utterly honest.
Yep.
We're not sugarcoating anything.
No.
I'll tell you I don't like a villa because, and not that this is not me saying that you don't do it, you do, you help. But I don't go to a villa to empty bins, to clean floors, to sweep
You're on
floors,
holiday.
yeah, but you still can't live in...
No, but you're on holiday. You don't want to be thinking about those things.
No, you don't want to be doing these things.
And although it sounds minuscule, it still does take that away from...
And I tell people, change your bed sheets for you.
Yeah.
You need to change your own in a villa. You need to, for me, that's not what I go on holiday for. I just think for us, it doesn't work. I love going down to sit by a Disney pool, and other people just love their own space at a pool.
Yep.
And that's why the villa might work for you, but for us it doesn't. International Drive certainly doesn't work for us anymore. Yes, there was a time when it did. Now it doesn't. On-site seems to be our only option at the moment. And like we said in the last podcast, we would go 2 years without a holiday to have an on-site
Stay.
Orlando holiday.
Yep.
But yeah, let us know what you think and
Yep.
what you do. I'm really interested to hear
Yep.
other people's thoughts on why they prefer a villa
Yep.
or why they prefer International Drive.
As I can't stress enough, we're not saying that anybody staying off-site
Is wrong.
Whereas people might think we're staying on-site is wrong. We'd love to have conversations about this.
Yeah.
And people's thoughts on it. So, yeah, across all the social medias, please get in contact with us and let us know your thoughts, or, as we always say, any questions at all about your Orlando holiday. Please, please, please make contact with us.
Yeah, and I think that'll bring us to the end of this podcast. But the next podcast, should you want to listen, I think we're going to do all about tips for first timers.
Yeah, kind of first timers, things that you maybe not think about.
Yeah, not even just tips for first timers, tips for anybody going, but particularly for those first timers and the biggest mistakes that people make the first time they go. These things might not be mistakes for some, but might be mistakes for others. It's just very much an opinion that we have, and our honest, like I said before, honest opinion.
So yeah, again, thank you very much for listening to this one and your continued support across all our social media platforms. As we always say, every like, every comment, every message we get means the world to us. And where we can, we will help people where we can. So, yeah, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.